to see the shape I'm in. It's hard for me to get sleep lately. You got my whole world in a spin. Right from the start, you had a place in my heart. It really made good sense to me. All of my friends, they say I've not been the same. They say I've gone, I'm lost to say. You're my only, you're my favorite. You're the light when darkness comes. You're all melody and harmony. You're the thumping of the drums. You're my only, you're my favorite. You're my weakness, can't you say? You're the reason I stay faithful, and you know you'll always be. I felt it right from the beginning. I never doubted anything. Some people tried to reason with me. Some tried to plant seeds of doubt. But I was convinced that it was all on my heart. I had to use that as my guide. And people who helped me as the journey wore on, I never thanked them for the ride. You're my only, you're my favorite. You're the light when darkness comes. You're all melody and harmony. You're the thumping of the drums. You're my only, you're my favorite. You're my weakness, can't you say? You're the reason I'll stay faithful, and you know you'll always be.
are, Kinsman.
Here we are.
You're back at it.
Wednesday night. Yeah,
would
we're
you,
back at it again.
for Pete's sakes, would you put your toque back on?
I gotta put my toque
What
back
is
on.
going on with that? What do you think? You're the Fonz?
I'm the Fonz.
Are you really the
No,
Fonz?
just took the hat off.
Hey!
No, took the toque off.
You had your
today.
toque on 2 minutes ago, and what happened?
Well, it's not a toque night.
I think here's what happened. You went into the washroom, you took a selfie, and you determined you were feeling cute today. Toque off, right?
That's it. No, took the toque off. Wearing it too much.
You're wearing it. Yeah, well, it's plus 10 outside.
Yeah,
so you can knock that off.
We're moving into hat season again.
You gotta buy that one hat you're gonna wear for 9 months straight.
That's it. So it burns a ring through the sweat stain and the sweatband.
So welcome back. Thanks for grossing us all out. Welcome back. We're live, Studio 67.
Yes, we are in downtown Timmins.
Of course,
here we are.
I have to remind you every day, downtown Timmins, because sometimes you show up in Schumacher, and that's your reason for being late for work.
Well, it's funny, when I first moved here back in 2009, when people said, you got to check out Schumacher, for me, you think Schumacher's like miles away, right?
Yeah.
Until you find out it's just a little suburb.
Well, so hello,
Down the
everyone.
highway.
We should say before we get going, couple bowling passes
yes,
on
we are.
the
We're going to
line.
send you to Midtown Bowl, maybe some Easter bowling for you in your near future. So
Easter
two
bowling.
passes coming up tonight.
Okay, so we have a good guest who's been a very big supporter of mine, Kinsman, and yours pretty much.
Yes, yeah, he's been a supporter of us, and
us,
again, he's a big supporter of the city of Timmins, and now the Downtown Timmins BIA, the executive director, Cory Robin.
There he is, right there,
in studio.
Kinsman.
There he is. Boom, boom, boom. Welcome to Studio 67.
Well, thanks for having me.
In downtown Timmins.
In downtown Timmins.
Come on, Kinsman.
Like I just skateboarded from my office down to here just now.
That's right.
Down Third Ave.
Most folks in the community know Cory.
Probably know me already.
Know him. Of course, on City Council, and now the new executive director of the Downtown.
ED.
Yep.
Downtown Timmins BIA there, Kinsman. So, first time since he got into the big boy shoes at the BIA, we agreed to come on the show. If you have questions for Cory,
fire him at him.
in particular about Downtown BIA, what's going on in our community, he'd be happy to answer them.
Happy to answer them live on the show.
I will do what I can, and I also, have some answers that have been asked already. Is what are we doing this year? And I have some things that I can explain what's going on, and but I'll answer if there's any comments or questions. Like, ask me anything. But I'm happy to be downtown, supporting downtown business, supporting not last year, year before's Win This Space participants. You won the space.
Yeah.
You're still here, thank goodness.
We're still here.
Yes, we are.
And we're doing, and the first thing I'll get into is the Win This Space. We all know that Chow Sandwiches won this space, and we've been working with them to find a space. And I believe that they're in the final acts of securing the space. So very soon we'll be awarding the space and celebrating the space and sharing some details. I get to know things that I just can't talk about, but I know that beautiful things are coming downtown this year. On Win This Space, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of not do it this year. So we're going to give it a year break so that we can elevate the prestige of it, so that we can kind of let the business community foster the next round of entrepreneurs, so that when we do another Win This Space in 2025, we'll have a bigger slate of people to come in, and then that'll hopefully will generate a bit more interest. We'll have a bit more of a bigger competition, and give the people who put the Win This Space participants, they put a lot of work into their business plans, and they put and they're implementing them. Like, look at Sparks Pizza, he's open. Yeah. And he was a Win This Space participant last year with you guys.
Yes, he was.
So it's great to see him actually action on the business plan that they worked so hard to do. So if we give a year break, then we can allow those other businesses to foster and grow and kind of figure out their own.
And again, Win This Space, phenomenal contest.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It vaulted us to where we're at now.
The Witness Space kind of brought together so many different community groups, so many different ways to help, so many sponsors. Like the space is paid for by donations from our community partners all over the place. And when it's finally time to announce where they are, then we'll be thanking them, and there'll be a bit of a radio splash about it. You know, we'll have you. I'll see if I can negotiate them to come in and have you guys do the grand opening, things like that. So we're going to celebrate their opening and celebrate the whole process of Witness Space. I'm really excited for another restaurant, another food vendor downtown.
Chow Sandwich Company. And again, Kennedy and Ryan not too long ago, and they say they're very close to crossing the final T for that new location.
Well, they didn't say
downtown.
that slogan exactly.
They did.
They're a little more hipper than that.
No, they said they
Corey,
dotted. We're close to dotting the I's.
Let me ask Corey a question, and then I want to get to a comment Debbie just made. So we're on the way to Iroquois Falls yesterday, and I don't know how big of a sports fan you are, but you don't have to be a huge sports fan. Mark goes, when I go to Iroquois Falls, I'm putting my rooting cap on. Have you? When's
your rooting cap?
Rooting cap.
Have
you ever heard of a lamer way to say you're cheering for a team than rooting cap?
Cheer them on.
I have used rooting for people very much,
Rooting for people.
but I don't think I've ever join those two terms
No,
together.
you should
rooting
never.
Cap, but I most certainly will going forward. I will go buy a Toronto Maple Leafs rooting cap.
Okay. Thank you. Well, don't do that. Okay, Ronnie, I want you to go up, and we want to get into some of the comments.
Yeah, we've got
questions. So
comments rolling through already.
Guy and Debbie, if you could post them both, Ronnie, have similar comment. Debbie's a couple down, Ronnie. So there's Guy, and then go a couple up from Guy. Up, Ronnie. And there you'll see Debbie. 2 up, Ronnie. Okay.
Right there.
So both of them very similar comment. Yeah, Debbie, Ronnie, say they would like to see downtown the way it used to be. So that I understand where they're getting. It can be interpreted many ways. You know, downtowns in any communities, unfortunately, aren't going to be like the 50s or 60s. Yeah. Unfortunately, those days are long gone. Mark was a teenager back then, so he'll tell you all about what happened then. But
used to park the horse at the local meter.
What people are saying when they say that, but what's your interpretation of that, Corey?
So I agree. I'll say it. People would like to walk downtown like it used to be before. And that's how I grew up with downtown. So I grew up in the 80s, and I was downtown with my mom back when it was a Wilco, back when there was stores all over the place. The economics has really changed. It's really, Walmart exists, and they built a big box store, so it's no longer productive to have things downtown. Downtown retail will never, ever be toilet paper and toothpaste. You can never have a store that sells that and be profitable. You end up having a niche store, and that's kind of what I'm trying to promote and trying to bring back is come downtown, take a walk like it used to be, but instead of having big box stores, you're going to have niche stores or niche services for you to come down and hang out with, like nail salons or Lemongrass is a beautiful example of a niche store that sells a unique category of items and things like that. When we're working, the other side of that, of course, is the social dysfunction, the homeless people, the needles, the drug use that's happening. From a city council perspective, we're putting in things in place to try and mitigate that, with the different outreach services, so that when you walk down the street, we also need to realize that they're not as scary as you think. Most of them are very harmless. But I do remember in 2018 when there was a couple of gentlemen downtown who would beg for money and do it in a very intimidating way. And when that happens, that's your cue to call 911. You're being scared and things like that. And it's to manage that expectation. So I wish that we could go back to exactly the way it was. That specific will never happen, but we can always create the atmosphere that we want to by telling ourselves that this is a situation that I should be afraid of. This is a situation that I shouldn't be afraid of. And how do I act between the two? Because I'm downtown all the time. And I've been downtown for a little over 10 years. And there's only been once or twice that I've been scared to be downtown. And those are the times where I get police involved because someone's being very aggressive or violent.
Every situation, it's so hard to put a blanket answer on that because every situation is unique. Now, geography plays a very big part of it, not all. So sometimes it's hard for me to comment because my home is in Porcupine, in a relatively safe community. But if my home was close to an area where I seen a lot of needles, there was a lot of crime, I'm sure my perspective would be a little bit different. Now, Mark and I work downtown. We've had zero issues. But on the flip side, other people have had a lot of businesses broken into, assaulted, loss of business because customers are scared. So every situation's unique. And, we feel for people, but sometimes it's hard to put yourself in the position. Like, I never see, like, I don't live in this area, so my kids don't see this. But if they did, then, I may feel a little bit differently.
No, I completely understand. Yeah. I have conversations with business owners who have a plethora of needles behind their store. I've had conversations with business owners who people are using the back of their store as a toilet, and conversations like that. So that kind of drives a different perspective. I've had conversations with business owners who have had their stores broken into and they have to make amends. Now, counselor, I can't arrest people, and there's not much I can do exactly to deal with the crime. That's why we have police. That's why we support the police. That's why I say call the police. That's why I say when something's happened to your store, don't just comment on social media and call 264-1201 and say, hi, I've had a break-in, I need to make a report, because that data feeds into the budgets of where the police are. So when there's crime in an area that's increasing, police are distributed to that area to help with the crime. So when you call, you put a little pin in a map that says, I'm having problems here, let's fix this. And as those social problems come through, then you can try to figure it out. We've seen a reduction in the needles in the back of people's yards. We've seen a reduction in some of those things that's happening through the social supports we're putting in. But again, you need to manage that expectation, when to call 911 because you feel threatened, and when to call the regular line to say this is something that happened so we can get more police. So when I ask for a beat cop, I get that response. Yeah. The business owners aren't calling the police, so there's not much of a problem downtown. We're focused on 5th or 6th or wherever that is. So I'm encouraging the business owners that when something happens, when there's a theft, when there's something, call the police and just let them know. Yeah.
But then you hear comments like, I gave my perspective where we haven't had any issues, but maybe I've seen different things like the Nicole's and the Geezer commenting where they feel afraid to be downtown. Yeah, it's not my position to comment on how they feel because they may have experienced different things than I have. Yeah. And, everyone deserves the right to, for businesses and for people to feel safe. And I use the term in their own backyards, talking downtown Timmins.
Yeah. The fact of the matter is there is trouble. And it's been increasing over the last number of years. It really hit a point in 2018 where there was quite a bit. We had to take away. There was a lot of intimidation. There was all of a sudden there was homeless people on every corner, and they were being aggressive. They were terrorizing people. I remember coworkers who would go to the bank, and there would be a few individuals who would just demand money in a way that you felt like you were being robbed. And a lot of that has that sentiment, that fear, that anguish has stayed over the last few years. It's not as bad anymore because those aggressive individuals are either locked away again or they found somewhere else to go and peddle. When we have homeless people downtown now, there's almost 3 different outreach programs that can prevent that person from being aggressive for food. So I know there's several different, they give out food, they tell you where you can go and eat, they tell you where you can find a nice place to stay, there's a warming shelter, you don't have to sit here on this corner. And those things are keeping the things that scare people at bay. Ultimately, it's whether you feel comfortable or not. Sometimes you want to get dropped off right in front of your store and jump in and jump out. But there are over 2,000 people who work in downtown Timmins. And a lot of them are walking to and fro their cars in the parking lots and everything else. So if something does happen to you, you need to report it and generally say, downtown Timmins is relatively safe. It's for me, it's safe. For you, it's safe. But not everybody feels that way. And you can genuinely take the precautions that you feel are necessary to make yourself feel safe.
But I don't think it should be discounted. If I feel safe, but someone else does not feel safe, I don't discount it. But I do want to get to a lot. We did promise people to ask questions.
Yeah, so we'll
now,
get
I
to,
think
a
Ronnie
lot of the
start.
viewer
Well, you only
questions,
started one. We're
tonight.
going to ask Ronnie the start of the comments.
So let me read this one from Selena. I have a question for Cory Robin. As a counselor, I want to know when was an addiction in the Hollinger Park last year, and she had a fake gun pretending to shoot at kids. And then when she approached, she looked at my grandson, who was mixed color, told him that the park was for white people only. When my granddaughter or my daughter sent you an email about it, the only one who reached out to her was Kristen Murray. And then there was a council meeting, and Kristen, Billy, and Lauren mentioned it at that meeting.
I remember that council meeting. That was Billy and Lauren. Yes, I remember reading some of those emails. I get quite a few, and sometimes I don't feel appropriate to respond to them because I don't have the life experience or things like that. But I do know that that's a terrifying situation for your kids, to have someone come up and be blatantly racist to them and fearful. And that is definitely a call for the police. It's not a non-emergency line saying someone's being mean to me. No, there's somebody there and they are causing a disturbance, and they're making my kids feel threatened. They're threatening. We need some attendance, and that's definitely a 911 call, and should have happened right away and happened every time, because that is unacceptable, and that's really what we have a police force for, is so that when someone is feeling that way, and there's a real threat, like when someone is waving around, whether it's a real gun or a replica gun, threatening and generally causing a terror, they need to be stopped by the police, and that's definitely a call.
And here's one from Sonia Beeman from Lemongrass. She says, what are your plans to make the downtown more appealing for new businesses and for people to feel safe again?
Well, one of the first things we're going to do is continue to clean up, work with the city to make sure it's cleaner. And all of these islands, they need to be straightened up and kind of promoted. Promoted is the wrong word there. I had a great idea from a business owner about the planters that are going out there. They don't look great, so we need to beautify that. And what I'm doing is I'm talking to all of the business owners as I go through and saying that Timmins is a fantastic place to work. The more people we have working downtown, the more people come outside for their lunches and walk by your stores and walk by the spaces and potentially shop. I know working downtown, I shop in the downtown stores and I eat on all the downtown places because I work downtown. So can we do that? Can we make downtown the best place to work for all of these service industries and Service Canada and the banks and everything else, to get there and remind the people that there's 20 places to eat downtown. There's dozens of places to shop. And the things you can find downtown, you are not going to find at Walmart, and you're not going to find at the Square. Another great thing I'm trying to do this year, and I'll jump into kind of a little bit of an announcement that'll be promoted a little bit later, is we are going to launch a comprehensive downtown gift card. So one-stop shop, you can come to our office, buy a gift card, and it will work in all of the stores that sign up. It uses the Visa system. So it's not a special anything else. If you accept Visa in your store, we are implementing a system that you can buy a gift card for your friends and family, and it'll work on anybody downtown that takes a Visa card. It uses that system at no cost to the business owners and at no cost to the people who buy the gift cards. They don't expire and they'll never run out. There's no fees on them like other gift cards in town. So that's something we're working on, and I'm hoping to have a full announcement a little later on this month.
Well, that is pretty awesome for future customers.
That's right.
And enticing them to shop downtown.
All right, don't get carried away with your comments, Kinsman. We promised people we would read theirs.
Well, we've got one from Guy.
Well, we have one.
Want me to read Guy's?
They go into grocery stores, walk out with food, and they don't even try and stop them, is what he's trying to say. And so that you hear this often.
Yeah.
You
Seen it.
possibly see it very often.
Yep.
And I don't know if my perspective's right, but if I worked at a gas station for 5 years when I was going to university, and a couple times we had people come in there that just took stuff.
They just take stuff and
But
leave.
I felt no desire to put myself at risk, even though I didn't agree with taking stuff, and I don't steal stuff, to put myself at risk.
Like for a bag of chips.
But the other perspective is, these companies hire security guards, and they're there to, whether it's protect the goods or protect the public, is it failing us? And what could, if anything, like the BIA do or the city do to help curb these actions?
That is, and I'm going to try to set an expectation, is coming down to the legal system. And right now they're kind of doing something called a bail reform, where basically if it's a petty property crime, it's not I wouldn't say priority, but it's not something that they're going to prosecute with the ferocity of prosecuting a murder, for example. They will take you, they'll take your name, they'll lay a charge on you, they let you go for a promise to appear. It's turned into basically a get out of jail free card for stealing stuff, so you can walk out. Now, if you stop and be a vigilante, that's actually a bigger charge than shoplifting. So if you stop them and you say, "Okay, I'm stopping you. You need to go back in. I'm taking all this stuff in, and it's upon me to do that," you can be charged with vigilantism, which is a worse charge than the theft. So that's something that is several levels above City Council, several levels above the BIA. It's just, protect yourself and try to protect your goods with, I don't know. I just know that this sucks for everybody, all the downtown people. And I see it myself, and I sit there and people look at me while I'm at Food Basics, and guys walking out and they're like, "What are you going to do?" I'm like,
there's nothing you can do.
I support our chief. So our chief of police, they went to Ottawa. They had a delegation with the chief, minister of, I don't have all this memorized. I didn't come with this information, but they went and had a delegation with some of the people in the Justice Department to say, this is what's happening in our city because of the changes that are taking place. Can we do something about that? So that's something that I'm supporting, and that's something we can do as a council and as a city to say, whatever this is happening is causing this problem, stop that. And vote in the next federal election might help too.
Yeah.
Here's a comment from Amber
Lynn. She says, I was at Hollinger Park. I called the police. The response I got was, "What race is the person I'm calling on?" I was there with my daughter. A lot of children were playing, and homeless people were drinking and running through the water park. No police officers came.
Oh. Okay, good to know. I'll follow up with that. That's not really acceptable. Asking what race someone should be is not part of the description. If I need a call for service, race should not be in there at all.
Shouldn't be an issue at all.
Shouldn't be asking my race when I call, and I shouldn't be asking who the person I'm calling about their race. So, Joanne, is that Joanne?
Yes, Joanne Savard. She says, when you don't feel comfortable going to an appointment downtown in the morning, we have a problem. There are still aggressive people approaching you for money. Many people don't feel safe downtown. That's
true. Many people do not feel safe downtown, and we're trying to figure out how we can fix that. And some of that's perception, some of that is reality. And from my perspective, I don't have a problem downtown because I'm as wide as I am and I'm as tall as I am, and I carry myself in a way that says I'm not an easy person to harass. But I think about people in my life like my grandmother or my kids, and I say, would my daughter feel comfortable walking down this street with this person here? How do I teach my daughter how to deal with that? So as I navigate that and as we navigate that, we're going to figure that out. I like to promote that downtown is safe, but only a naive person thinks that that's 100%.
And talking to a few people that I've mentioned, or they've mentioned to us, saying, you see them online, they're banks shutting their doors after 6 o'clock, where if you work 9 to 5, it's kind of hard to get there to pull out your own money.
That is a pain, and that's something that really that's going to be, it'll be worse before it gets better in some of those systems, because the days of the doors being unlocked at the front of the bank for the vestibules are long over. Not since that fire at RBC 2 or 3 years ago. Until we see some social changes at the federal level through the Justice Department, through policing, through some supports, like we'll see. Because when you look at a homeless person, the homeless person is a homeless person, but a criminal is also a criminal. And the criminals are really what's causing the problem here. And the criminals are getting arrested and they're getting released. They're getting charges added to themselves, and then they're getting charges dismissed or dropped because of whatever reason. So I've been privy to that information, and that's extremely frustrating, and that's something we've been harassing the Justice Department for a while
now. I'm just trying. We apologize if we're missing any comments
a lot of comments
or questions. Feel free to ask them again if we missed them. A bit of a theme I've seen on some people post, and actually I feel like the majority post this. So there's one thing about, you know, having empathy and care for our fellow human beings, which I feel we all in this room and most of the people I know do. We don't want to see a person suffer. We don't want to see a person if they want to kick an addiction. We want to see a person do the best, have the best quality life as possible.
Yeah.
The majority. I don't know anyone that would say I want this person to have a terrible life. On the flip end, I see a lot of comments, and I really feel this. They're saying we're spending so much time focusing on the group of people that need help. We're losing sight of the mom and pa that work every day, the taxpayers, the business owners. It shifted too much to one side. Is this something you feel is happening?
Yeah. I feel that, and I've kind of seen it happening, is that we put a lot of focus on helping and with empathy and helping people try to be their best selves, try to do other things. But then we're also seeing the suffering of regular folk, business owners and everything. And the empathy has to be able to encompass both. And I'm seeing a shift in our city and our political leaders that, okay, so, and this is kind of my perspective as well. I support the living space, okay, and I'll just say that. I also support the safe health site, okay? Those are two things that are important for our city for that. But so now that I've done that, I also am championing the police to go after the criminals, to stop these break-ins, to stop the shoplifting, because those are criminals and need to be arrested and taken care of. I am also empathetic to the business owners where they're spending money to have to upgrade, to harden their security. So that's why we're doing the community improvement grant, and that's one of the things I'm working on at the BIA is here's how you apply, here are some people who can do that, here's how you can secure your business, because that's where I'm focused now. We were focused on making sure we have the empathy for people who need it, but now we need to expand that. And that's one of the things that we've been kind of doing, or I've been focusing on for a little over a year since the last election, you know, to say we're helping the people who need it from like the homelessness and addictions and mental health and things like that perspective. But now we need to help the regular people, the business owners, and the people who have invested their time and money to making our city great, who are being hurt and negatively impacted from all of these other things, these crimes. So let's try and fix what we can and how we can there. You can be both. You can have empathy towards people who need it. You can have empathy towards the people who are suffering because of the other side of this. And you can figure it out. And you can try to help both without excluding one or the other. And now I'm focusing on the side that has been suffering from all of this for a while.
And MJK says, every town and city go through this, but I've had my teens sexually harassed by older men in trucks or cars, and my teens don't even dress less, but respectfully to themselves. And I get worried if they want to walk downtown to Timmy's or Starbucks, etc. I remind them walking in town, take pictures of the vehicle. The man, call the police. It isn't just the homeless that are the problem.
That's right.
Community.
Excuse me, we've been talking for a while. I have girls too. They're 11 and 11, and I live actually near the Starbucks, and we walk. And that's one of the things I'm teaching my kids too, is there are unfortunately creeps in the world, and you need to teach your kids to keep an eye out for them. And things that you can do is to not cry wolf, but protect yourself. If you're nervous, take a picture, and if you see them again, if there's a pattern, and if you're really uncomfortable, you're afraid. That's what 911 is for. And if you did notice something and you want to make a report, that's what the non-emergency line is for. But I do the same thing. I worry about my girls when I send them to Tim Hortons. Fortunately, I can almost see them all the way there, so I keep an eye on them that way. And we've had lots of conversations. If somebody stops, it's all about teaching your children what could be bad and where those fears are, so that they have a realistic expectation. I luckily have never had any issues with anything like that, but I'm hoping that my girls will definitely tell me if there is.
Okay, here's a great comment from Sandy. People on long bus rides from South Porcupine that need to change buses at the terminal may need to use the washroom before they take the bus, to example, for the square. They're locked to the public. You need to fix this problem by enforcing the bylaws and not just lock everyone out.
The entire idea of those bathrooms was for everyone to use them. And they're being abused a little bit, and we're going to try and figure out how to fix that. They are to be open for the public, and we're kind of having a learning curve. We just did a renovation there. As far as, if I remember correctly, our last council meeting, we got an update that there was some trouble in there, but they were designed with accessibility and the public in mind, all the public. So I know there's a bit of an issue going on in there, and it's caught all of our attention at the moment. In fact, we are actually looking at something about a public washroom downtown, a public washroom for everybody, because not every business has their washrooms available to everybody. I don't have a problem, as Councillor Robin can walk into a business generally and be able to use the washroom if I need to, even though it's not necessarily available to the public, but not everybody's me, and not everybody has access to it. So it would be great to have a dedicated public washroom for everyone downtown, and I really mean everybody downtown. So it's a work in progress. We hear you, all of council and the mayor, we've talked about it. It's something that we're working on actively.
Natalie says, can you please tell me how to get people going through the garbage and recycling bins on private property, and I have to tell them to get off the property?
Frankly, lock your bins and lock your property. So you have the right to tell someone to get off your lawn, get out of your garbage bins, but the moment the bins are on the curb, they're fair game. So that's one of the things, and that's one of the things I'm trying to work on downtown, is secure your garbage and your recycle until it's time for them to be picked up, because once they're on the curb, they're open, they're fair. So if they're on your property, tell them to get off. Do that 1201, say, hey, I've had a trespasser again, and they'll give you a ticket number, and it goes on a pin on the board that there's trespassers. I do that every time someone breaks into my car and steals my phone. Not my phone, my wallet. I've lost my wallet, I've lost smokes, I've lost keys, all from my car from leaving it unlocked. And every time I call the number and I say, hey, they hit my neighborhood again. So yeah, lock it, kick them off, call the police. But once it's on the curb, it's fair.
No organizations will say where the Rapid Access Addiction Medicine Clinic is actually located in Timmins. Could you look into this? And was it considered to be the HIN's answer to the opioid crisis at the time?
Okay, so that's far more specific than I have access to information right here. I'll take a note and I'll follow up. Can you send me an email, cory.robin@timmins.ca?
Okay, there we go.
Derek says, old abandoned, what's that?
Old abandoned derelict buildings are also a problem for squatters.
To store them in and to use it as shelters and drug hideouts sometimes as well.
Yep, that's why we've put in the vacant building registry, so we know where they all are. And there are, if you notice something has a door broken into, there is bylaws for securing your property. So if you're walking down the street and there's an abandoned building and the front door's been kicked in, call Service Timmins, a bylaw officer will go out there, contact the business owner, or the owner, and if they can't figure out how to secure the property through the business, they'll issue a repair remedy. There's a process. And whenever you see many of those buildings, you see a brand new sheet of plywood across the front door, that's potentially bylaw doing their jobs. We have laws to prevent that, but we need to be alerted to them. So I do it for downtown. I spotted one that's been opened. I call Service Timmins, someone comes and inspects, and they put an order in to board it all up.
Back up again.
There's a comment from Brianna.
Yeah, quite a long one there from Brianna. She says, I will never forget the day we walked out of Dollarama and my had his own little bag. My son had his little bag of chocolate and chips. This guy, the guy held the door, one for us, but didn't say a word. Walking out, all I heard was, no, that's yours. Are you sure you want to give it? And I turn around and there's Talon giving his chocolate bar and a bag of chips to this guy. I'm like, what are you doing, Talon? That's for you. You bought it with your own money. He said, I know, Mom, but he needs it more than me. So he gave it to them.
That's a great example.
Great little example.
Of a fine young man right there.
Fine young little man.
I think Talon has a good heart.
Yeah, he does.
And I, too, have given a chocolate bar to the guy who opens the door for me at Dollarama.
We knew.
Because he was very nice to me.
We know Talon, he's a bright young man. Nicole says there's a big problem with the washrooms at the bus depot, people doing drugs, needles, people sleeping in there. washing themselves up, etc. So that's back to the washrooms, which are should be accessible to all the public. That's the whole public washroom.
Right, and we did expand the security, so there should be security there all day.
Okay.
So that when that occurs, it's excuse me, sir, this is not here for you to wash up. Okay. We have the living space. You want to shower and you're homeless, there's a living space. That's really what it's for.
Are you having problems reading tonight?
No, I'm good.
It's
a bit of a glare. Steve Fisher says, could we have a bi-weekly report from the TPS posted on the city site stating the number of calls and crime happening in Timmins?
They used to do that. The Sunday report from the TPS, so many 911 calls, so many calls, it used to be in the daily press. I might be old at this point. Good idea. I'll bring that up.
And Joanne says, Nicole K and La Garage, if they are washing themselves, that's not an issue. There are legit homeless people out there. Leaving their dirty laundry behind is not okay.
Yeah, we know, and that's part of the outreach, right? Don't do that here. Let's move on.
We hear, I hear this comment often, and I don't have the information to know whether it's true or not. But we hear either a lot of people feel or a lot of people know, saying, you know, part of the reason why we have so many homeless people on the street, individuals, is because we're busing them in from other communities. Now, I don't know whether that's true or not. I know there was a consultant. There's been a lot of discussion about this. Is there accuracy to that, or what is the situation?
There's a couple of definitions that we've had to discuss. Okay, so when you become homeless, most of the people who become homeless are either born and raised in Timmins, who are here, or are transplants. So when you ask someone where they're from, oh, I'm homeless. Okay, well, where are you from? Okay, I'm from Hamilton. Okay, when did you come to Timmins? 1996. Okay, so that means that he's been here for 30 years and he became homeless sometime during those 30 years. So if you take that number and say and they've been tracking this date range. So if you've been born and raised in Timmins or been here for 15 years or more, that is somewhere between 80 and 85% of the homeless people are either have been here for a number of years or they're born and raised. There is a chunk that is coming from the region because living space is also part of the DSAB, and the DSAB services the region. So there are people from Hearst, Cochrane, Cap, Moonbeam, things like that. So when the homeless shelter in Cochrane gets full, the overflow comes to Timmins. I did meet a man from Kingston. He came from Kingston. He thought that we were giving out chocolate bars to everybody. There was a big story about gold-plated toilets and everything else. He thought he could make his life here. So he went from one homeless shelter to another, and he was here. So there are a chunk. So if you take all the homeless, most are from here or lived here. There's a piece from the region, and then there is a small percentage. There's about 8 to 12% of people. So of 200 or so, using round numbers, if there's 200 homeless people, 15 to 20 are not from here or not from the region and have transiented through a bus or whatever to come to Timmins. Those transients, they come, they stay for a while, they leave, replaced with other transients. So there's always between 10 and 20% of that, whatever. Are people getting Greyhounds? Is this like a Texas to New York situation we see on Fox News? That's not a thing. There's no busload. In fact, when I went to Toronto, and I'm at the OBIA, and during the BIA conference in Toronto, there was a BIA from Toronto demanding to know why Northern Ontario was sending all their homeless to Toronto. And I just shook my head because that's the exact same conversation we're having in Timmins. So yeah, people are transitioning, but it's not a busload here and a busload there. That's just not a thing.
Just wanted to confirm with going back to the washrooms at the bus depot. Did you mention there's security there 24/7, or there's more of a presence of security?
Okay, so the original security agreement was in the morning, first thing in the morning and then at night. Then there was an 8-hour period where there was no security. We've closed that gap, so there should be. So we just passed that last council, so it takes a couple of weeks to figure that all out. But in the short term, there will be security from when it opens to when it closes, specifically because of the washroom stuff.
Keeps people's peace of mind.
Yep.
If we can go back to, I think Sonia had a comment up a little further up there. It's clear that the city has made a lot of modifications consistently and constantly for the addicts and homeless. Now it's our turn, the citizens. We need help too.
Completely agree. Yeah, and that's what the focus is. I'm looking for ideas, and I've spoken to Sonia, and she's given me some good information, some good ideas, some good perspectives, and I'm taking them, and I'm kind of running through our partners, and I'm running through what we can with the board. Do I have the money for it? How can I spend all this stuff? And I've heard some, and that's time to help. There are some things that I've been pointed to. Standing in Sonia's store, looking across, there's a trouble spot. Okay, well, I'm working on trying to fix that, and that's one of the ways that I can help businesses, by nuking these little really troublesome spots in downtown.
Dave Raymond says, I'm worried about all the people who lived in the Empire complex. I'm hoping there is some type of security for that building because of the precious items or copper that they can get their hands on.
Yep, me too. First, we have to thank all the Timmins Fire Department. There was over 30 firefighters there. I think 6 different fire hydrants were used to be able to put that fire out. They worked, night and day to get that all done. I heard a report of firemen bringing people from that complex who had mobility issues, being carried downstairs, being carried and all that stuff. So, our men and women of the fire brigade, really did a top-notch job and saved all those people. Our community came out with them, and they brought them food, and they brought them clothing, and our community is rallying around them, and there's many different things. But for that building, so now that the fire is out, it's been handed over to the building owner. And the building owner it's his job now to secure it. It's his job to hire security or whatever it needs to be done now. It's really on that private property, and that owner has been very responsive. He's here, and he's doing what he can to make it right. And that's, I don't have much more information than what the press releases are, but I do know that the owner is here. He's taking possession back of it, and whatever is going to happen, we're going to find out soon.
What about the displaced from the Empire now, for people maybe inquiring about donations? Is it through City Hall?
There's a couple of different ways to do it. I know the city communications department, the city Facebook page is fantastic for keeping that information out. So if you want to donate monetarily, the city will do it, and the city has a charity, and they can give you a receipt for it. They put all that money aside for those people. There are several downtown businesses that are accepting donations. There are several businesses out in the community that are accepting donations of all of the physical stuff. I know that there's a couple of raffles going on downtown. What I do know is that there's 100 days for people at the Bon Air, and then we're going to see what happens. And honestly, I'm worried about 60 days from now, when the outflow of compassion kind of slows down a little bit. When those people find places to stay, they need all the kinds of stuff. So maybe that's when we can do that. So if you're looking to make a monetary donation, you can do so at the Timmins, City of Timmins. Go to their Facebook page. There's a wonderful post there. If you're looking to donate sundries, food, clothing and things like that, there's a list of businesses that are there. And if you want to donate food, that's kind of an interesting way to do it. There's an issue there with Workman Health Unit with, you just can't show up with a lasagna and do that. So that's something else. But if you have money and you have goods, there's places for you to do that, and we're going to hold it for you, and we're going to distribute it as it is. For now, they're safe and sound at the Bon Air.
Nice.
We had a few questions about Hollinger Park. People feel when they go there with their families, it's not safe. And obviously we know it's a high in use place in the community for families, especially when it's very costly to do almost everything. It is a a very cost-effective way for families to get out and enjoy, but they don't feel safe. So is the city looking into ensuring the safety of families when they go to the park?
Of course. So there's a couple of, the biggest thing, I think the last year, somebody had a needle in their foot, and that went everywhere. And right away we realized that there are needles in the grass, the lawnmower hits some needles, shatters a needle all over the place. So I know a few times last year we had a patrol of city workers and police go through and do a grid by grid to get all the needles out. I think that's going to continue. And again, if something is happening, call 911. If there's a homeless person sitting under the Centennial, the thing at the corner, the clock tower, which I think is still broken, which should be fixed. Having someone sit there who's homeless, they're harmless. There's nothing really to worry about there. Having someone sitting on a bench or sleeping at the far tree over there, that's harmless. I bring my kids there. I've gone dozens of times because I'm not rich. I enjoy just going to the park. I bring a picnic basket and I go hang out there. But I still take precautions. I go look around the area that I'm hanging out with, and that I know that the park itself and the splash park, that is vigilantly inspected quite often. Every day, as often as we can, and if there's any issues, we send public works out to figure out what's going on. The larger park as a whole, you're always best just to kind of keep an eye out, but the city is spending resources and spending money on students and things to go and walk through that park and pick up the needles. Again, if someone's approaching you, being aggressive or being scary, and you feel threatened, the moment you feel threatened, you pick up your phone, you 911, and you report it. If it's just somebody sitting under a tree, that's really nothing.
I want to post a comment from Joanne, which echoes what Sonia said and a few other people said. And I know we've chatted about this a few times, but it's worth re-mentioning.
It is. She says, I fully understand helping the homeless, but your taxpayers need to feel safe, and unfortunately, we don't.
Yep, I understand. And that's really us helping the police to do their job and focusing on letting the powers that be, so the criminal code and the prosecution and everything else, the mechanisms that keep people in jail aren't keeping people in jail. So we could have $1 trillion police budget to arrest the guy who walked out with all your stuff or arrest the guy who assaulted you, but if they're on the street 20 minutes later, that's not helping anybody. And that's happening across the country. So councils all over the place and chiefs of police all over the place are demanding the justice system to, this particular thing you're doing needs to stop because it's hurting everybody. So as much as I can fund the police department, it's just a revolving door at times. So I hear you, and I'm just as frustrated and I'm just as angry. And I've had this conversation with people whose pay grades are way higher than I am and say, this has got to stop. So while a regular person, a regular taxpayer in our city gives me a hard time because they don't feel safe, you can bet that I'm going into a room with a guy who makes way more money than I do, with way more power, and I'm giving him a hard time because that's what I do. So I'm on the same page.
And a lot of people like Amy are feeling exactly the same, you know, a very high degree concern for, safety. And these are very legitimate concerns. Steve Fisher says, are we planning a major cleanup of the downtown soon, as there's garbage almost in every corner?
Yep.
That's going to be happening.
Very good, yeah.
All right.
So I'll expand on that. I'll toot the Chamber's horn. They're putting together a Clean the City Up. They want to do some prizes, and I think I'm going to piggyback on that. I think I'll put we'll put a contest out and say, win a $500 downtown gift card if you the community needs to clean up, but also the city needs to clean up. We have crews going out. I'll have my summer students out in the summertime. I'll grab a broom. Because I care about our downtown, but if I can get business owners and business people downtown to volunteer and try and clean up our city, I think it'll be best for everybody. It's both a city mission and a community mission. And if you are a community member who wants to help clean up downtown, the city will provide you with gloves and a garbage bag and all the things you need, and I'll be there along the way.
Again, $500 with that universal new gift card that you've got in the works now.
A lot of things, like I've been doing this for 3 months now, so I'm not sure how that'll work, but I'm open to ideas, and I'm going to try my best to try and make something work, because I can't do it all myself. The city can do it, but they take forever, because we know that. So if we can get the community come down and spend half an hour and make our city great, then it'd be perfect.
Yeah.
I think the homeless need programs on how to get off the streets to assist with what their issues are. Yeah, that's supporting people on their road to recovery.
There are, and they are accessed, and they're pretty well used.
I want to pull up this question from Joanne. Sorry, Joanne, big supporter of the show. I got to get her name right.
Yeah,
Kinsman. Joanne. So she's making a comment about the mayor making over $100,000, and anyone can do that job. So there is a lot of comments here, some frustration with council, I'm sure you heard it, and about the mayor. So I'm going to try and generalize this comment, and people let me know if I'm wrong. Based on our conversations with people, and generally speaking, this said, we've elected the mayor, we've elected our council people to be our voice, but we don't feel like you're being our voice. Do you hear, like, how much of council person's mayor voice at council?
I feel like it's election season again.
It is. Well,
You're in the hot seat.
I'm trying to capture a lot of comments based on what I know, but
rolling through tonight.
I'll be corrected if I'm wrong. Do you feel like, I do feel if you elect someone, you elect them to be your voice. Are we off base here? Do their voices get heard at city council? I'm sure there's more to it than just a voice being heard.
Yeah.
That happens in the background, but aren't generally speaking, don't we elect people to be the voice of the citizens of the area in which they serve?
So that's a pretty challenging question. So, like, give me a bit of leeway to kind of figure that one out.
So, for example, if you have 20 business owners downtown Timmins saying the crime's out of control, I don't feel safe, I'm about to lose my business, I also live close to the shelter and my children aren't safe, and you hear that often, isn't there an expectation that you should fight for the people in your areas to have those issues addressed?
Yes. Okay. So that's democracy as it is. So for me, when I listen to everybody, and I can only speak for myself, and I saw the comment about the mayor. The mayor's job is a tough one. Takes the blame for quite a lot of things, but she also has the ability to affect a lot of things and negotiate and have things passed to council through working with the other councillors. For me, I get emails and I get comments and I get comments on Facebook and I read a lot of stuff on Facebook. I get a lot of these things and I take them in aggregate and I listen. So there are people who are demanding, there's a protest tomorrow for the Safe Health site and they want to see it funded. There's also a group of people who don't want to see it funded and want to see it taken down. So one of my jobs is really to balance the pros and cons of every decision. And a lot of these things really keep me up at night because I listen and I read a lot of the comments about how it's affecting people and my heart goes out to them. And then I listen and read a lot of comments on the other side. So when I'm elected, I put out a platform. This is kind of who I am and this is what I'm going to be. Are you okay with that? And the last election, I did say that, I supported a living space and I supported the Safe Health site. And when I won the election, that kind of confirms, while this is really challenging, it's what the people wanted. And as things shift and as I listen to what's going on everybody's comments, because there are both, on every issue, there are both pluses and minuses, I listen and try to make a decision that will please the most people or cause the least amount of harm. Not everything is easy and not everything is as straightforward as that, but your voices really are heard. A lot of people do hear them. And I've had really difficult conversations with people who are really upset, really angry. And I find that it comes from a place of good in their heart. It's just sometimes they come across in a way that is a challenging conversation to have. So everybody is listened to. It's just, you might not always get your way because there are other factors in line there.
There are, you always have to look at the flip side too. So you see some comments, if you want to be on council, if you want to be the mayor and then run and step up. And I agree with that term too. If you want to make a change, the best way to make a change is do something about it. And it doesn't always, you don't have to run to be mayor. Maybe you can sit on a board. Maybe you can join the chamber's cleanup thing. I also feel like not everything is completely negative. And pardon me, Kinsman, shit. I know, I'm getting a little wild here tonight, but it's not all shit in this community.
No.
Even just downtown, you've mentioned Sparks Pizza, Sweet Freeze, Chow coming here. There are a lot of people that are investing in downtown. We've seen, the city with the heart of gold. We did most recent examples, the tragedy at the Empire Complex. Thousands of people stepping up. There's big time investments in our community from Canada Nickel. So there are a lot of great things happening in our community, which I'm sure that the council and the mayor and other politicians play a large role in happening. It just, sometimes the negatives can overshadow the positive things that are happening. So it's not all bad, it's not all good, simply put.
Basically, yeah, with the good comes the bad. And a friend of mine once said, it's the piston of politics. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down, and depending on what it is. And that's really, that's been the last year and a half of being a councillor. It's been good times. It's also been pretty rough times. I celebrated my birthday June 15th. It was also the day of the Pack the Mac. So that was a challenging conversation. To have that wave of that frustration from thousands of people coming into someone like me who's very empathetic about people really affected me and really kind of changed my outlook. I hadn't realized that there was quite so many thousands of people who were having so many big troubles there. So that had an effect. And that was very courageous of our mayor to do that. And all of us councillors who showed up to listen and hear all at once. So again, being a councillor means that you have to take the good and the bad, and there always is going to be good and bad, and you have to make your decisions knowing that some people are going to be upset with you.
Here's a question from Piper.
Yeah, Piper Farrell says, the Safe House site, have you spoke to anyone who actually actively uses it and what they feel or think of it?
Yeah. I don't want to name names there, but there are people who use it. Maybe the best way I can say is that I know someone who shows up in their $100,000 car and helps their son go in there because she's afraid that the drugs her son is addicted to is going to kill him. And she would rather him use it there than in the basement, because if something did happen, medical attention is right there. And there are a number of homeless people who I've spoken to as well, that they want a clean needle and they want to get out of the trap house. So there's a couple of places in Timmins where heroin users get together and they just live in the den. It's just like all the TV shows you've watched. If you're a fan of Breaking Bad, you've seen these visualized on TV. They exist. They're here in Timmins. If you don't want to use there and you want to use somewhere else, the Safe Health site is there for you. And those are the conversations I've had, where they go in, it's a safe place for them, and then they can leave. They don't have to go to a trap house. They don't have to go somebody's basement. If something happens, there's medical attention, takes all the fear out. So it's really benefiting quite a few in our community. And yes, I have spoken to people. I have walked the alleyway. I've sat in there. I've had a tour, and I've spoken to some of the people who've used it, either before going in and before leaving, or after leaving.
Okay. Well, we spent a good hour with Cory.
Good conversation with
Has
Cory.
it been an hour?
I do want to say this. You know,
we didn't talk about downtown at all.
Well, that leads to my next point. You know, politics is not. 1 year they've asked me to run for. Forget it, Kinsman. I'm way too sensitive. I couldn't handle anything. I'd be destroyed. But say whether you support Cory, you don't support Cory, you support council, or you don't support council. One thing we know for sure is that Cory's always been a big supporter of ours, but the biggest thing, he's willing, and there's not too many are willing to come on this platform and answer your questions
live
in a live platform. And we will definitely have a long-term partnership with Downtown Timmins.
We do.
Cory will be back to chat a little bit more BIA activity. I know there's a lot of great stuff that we're expecting
the urban
this
parks
summer.
And the farmers markets coming back again.
Yeah, all those things. I want to buy some new snowflakes.
Yeah, well, we should answer that question. Someone did ask if the markets and the parks
when are they coming?
Are coming back this summer.
Okay, so quickly on the markets, if I get my summer students, we'll have markets. We are going to put them on 3rd Avenue. We're not going to shut off a side street. We're going to put them right downtown again. Detour be damned. It'll be right in front of where it was before, those 2 blocks. The names escape me at the moment. It'll be Wednesday and Thursday. And then that's the urban markets.
All right.
Good.
I'll announce that when the federal government gets back to me and says I have some.
Well, we appreciate you. I can handle it. I'd be crying, Kinsman, and we know you cry 3 times a week.
Oh, come on.
Thank
Nothing
you for
wrong
asking
with crying.
challenging questions.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Okay, when we come back, we'll quickly draw the 2 bowling passes.
2 Midtown Bowl passes.
Yeah.
Oh, they're mine. That was my...
Love for Nonprofits will launch starting Monday with the Schumacher Lions Club and Sebastian Vermette Insurance and Financial Limited. Watch for Monday's post and nominate a not-for-profit business for free advertising on our show. And he was nominated for the 2023 Hip Hop Album of the Year. HK Higher Knowledge comes to Timmins this weekend to the Ramada Inn for some Easter fun. Stop by Saturday and Sunday for Easter bingo, supper, and dance. And then on Sunday, the Foster Kid Survival Guide at 3. It's all free to attend, put on by Nan Legal Services and a Muskego Nation Rebuilding Initiative. And sleep with the wolves at Cedar Meadows Resort and Spa. Sleep under the stars at these cozy accommodations. Sleeps up to 4 adults. Book your stay now, 705-268-5800. And tickets are on sale now for the 19th annual MKDA Dance Recital, We Speak Dance. April 12th, 13th, and 14th at Terrio. Reserve seating, though, so get yours now. Online, themkda.com. Join the Sweet Freeze craze and fundraise today with Timmins' newest candy store, Sweet Freeze. Perfect for any occasion fundraiser. Located at 175 3rd Ave, Timmins. Call today, 705-465-0649. And get your tickets now for Magic Met Australia. Coming to Timmins June 15th at the Mac Ballroom. Tickets available now through Eventbrite. And still time to register your child for kindergarten with the Northeastern Catholic District School Board. You can book a tour with a school now online, ncdsb.on.ca. And get a seat booked now for the 2nd annual Orange You Glad We're Sewing Retreat, happening the weekend of September 27th at Northern College. Call today to book yours, 705-262-1853. And rent a bin today with Rubino's Petro Can. Call Frank now as he rents in the 8, 15, and 30-yard sizes, perfect for your next reno job. Call for your quote, 705-288-8027. Need security? Then call Metagamy Security Solutions. Locally owned and operated. Access control, mobile patrol, key holders, alarm response, and more. Email Lalit and his team today. Contact at MetagaMySecuritySolutions.ca. And contact Sebastian Vermette with Sebastian Vermette Insurance and Financial Limited. For financial advice or mutual fund investment advice, call Sebastian and his team today, 705-264-4395. And another sold sign with Jessica Gervais at Royal LePage Northern Realty Leaders. Your house could be next. Contact Jessica today, 705-363-0136. Check out her listings online, Jessica Gervais at royallepage.ca. And keep tabs on all 200 businesses in your downtown with the Downtown Timmins BIA. Follow them online, downtowntimmins.com, or drop in and see them, located 85 Pine Street South. Get your tickets now for TFX Beer Fest, happening Saturday, April 13th at the Mac Curling Club. Tickets available now through Eventbrite. Trisha Helfer, the Mystery Machine from Scooby-Doo, and amazing vendors and more at this year's TimminsCon 2024 at the Mac. Get the details now for the April 20th, 21st weekend at northernontarioexpo.com. For residential commercial cleaning excellence guaranteed, it's DAP Cleaning Solutions. Book your spring carpet clean and strip and wax jobs today with Andrew N. Call for your free quote, 705-465-3500. For Vegas-style games and more, it's Jackpot Time Timmins. Open 9 a.m. to 2 a.m. Monday through Sunday, located at 251 First Avenue. And let's defend the Igloo this week at the Just Jordan Arena. Games 3 and 4, Tuesday and Thursday night at 7:30. We'll see you at the Igloo. Go Storm, go. Get connected with Mel and Mel from She's Connected. These ladies will help you grow your business. Follow them now at shesconnected.ca. And let Albert seal your deal with Royal LePage Northern Realty Leaders. He's trying to seal the deal on this one now at 447 Waterloo Road, which he is now reduced in price. Call him now to book a tour, 705-465-3493. And on the big screen this week, Ghostbusters, Imaginary, and Immaculate. Check the tickets and prices online at imagincinemas.com. And join Dare Timmins for a free swim this weekend at the Sportsplex, happening this Saturday from 1:15 to 2:30. Coaching applications are being accepted now for Tier 1 teams through the PMHA. Details located on the PMHA Facebook page. And the Timmins Majors are 2024 U18 champions. For the first time in 22 years, an amazing playoff run. And she's the producer of Sportsman Channel Canada and Just Hunt Inc. Amanda Lynn Mayhew. It's something fun for everyone at Midtown Bowl. Call Nat today for a gift certificate, book a rockin' bowl, or a pizza party package. 705-267-3500. And the Porcupine Gold Kings are victorious. As they knocked off the Stingers in round 1, they now await round 2 and their opponent this weekend, the Hearst Lumber Kings.
All right, it's bowling pass time.
Bowling pass time,
Now,
so we're going to be
pull
pulling
up
up the wheel of winning.
the wheel of winning there, Ronnie. Oh, Ronnie posted a compliment
Yes,
for himself.
he was
Fair enough.
searching for his own
Yeah,
comments.
compliment.
up
He
there.
always finds that.
He deserves
All
it.
right, Ronnie.
He does deserve it. He does a good job. So this is the wheel of winning. I don't know if you've seen this before, Corey.
Yeah, we've got
Not
chance
from
to win
this
some
side of
gold.
the screen,
Hold
no.
on to your peripheral hat.
Hold
Ronnie
on to
will
your
spin
hat.
it.
He's talking about cliches. That's like the oldest cliche.
Get
in the
us
book.
over to the main
hold
screen,
Hold on
Ronnie.
to your horses. We're going to
My-
give away
my
some bowling
rootin' cap.
passes here.
Hold on to my
All right,
root.
and the winner is, hey, Sonia Beeman.
There you go, Sonia.
Sonia. We'll
We'll-
drop those passes off tomorrow for
Walk
you.
on down the street.
Yeah, we're just down the street
Yeah,
from
and
her,
you
so.
pick up me up some bath bombs when you're down there. She
Okay.
is the best.
Some
Dude.
bath bombs
Yeah, that's
and,
right.
yeah, great store at
Sonia and I
Lovely
go
Gas
way
there.
back because before I even met you, Kinsman, we did a social media commercial together.
You
I
did?
wanted
the
to
way.
remind the population of when you were doing that way back.
Oh, yeah, I was doing comedy videos about,
Downtown.
most people know, comedy.
Comedy,
Yep.
Yeah.
skits.
And
stuff.
Mark was on the radio. I said, well, can you put this on your webpage? He goes, too risque for me,
No,
he
too
tells me.
risky. That's it.
But thank you so much for joining us. Thank you,
Yeah,
Corey.
thanks for Cory,
We appreciate
Robin,
you. And
The ED, Executive Director of the BIA.
And if people enjoyed, being able to ask live questions, whether whether it's positive or negative or debatable, let us know more because Corey's always willing to come on the show and have these discussions.
And you're going to be coming on about
I'll see you in
once
a month.
eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
You'll
come
be
back.
here in a month there,
Give it an
Kinsman.
update as we
Yeah.
get closer to some of the fun stuff with, obviously spring and summer.
Yeah, let's clean it up. I'll buy some brooms.
There we go. Good night.
All right, good night. See you tomorrow night.
We've all got demons, but I got a feeling yours and mine might get along. Oh, cause here in the darkness, I can see where your heart is, cause your love left the light on. If we put together all our broken pieces, make them fit until all that we see is what we are, because all that I need is you. Yeah, you. You're the miracle I've been wishing I would collide into. Ooh. Oh, for all of my life, been saving all of my time for you. Ooh, so you got time for me too. 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 Closing the curtains, so tell me you're certain this is what you're looking for. You got your hands on my body, and there might not be anything I'm wanting more. Oh, we can put together all our broken pieces, make them fit until all that we see is what we are, because all that I need is you. Yeah, you. You're the miracle I've been wishing I would collide into. Ooh. Oh, for all of my life, been saving all of my time for you. Ooh, so you got time for me too. 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 If we put together together all our broken pieces, make them fit until all that we see is what we are, because all that I need is you. Yeah, you. You're the miracle I've been wishing I would collide into. Oh, for all of my life, been saving all of my time for you. So you got time for me too.